This is a cautionary tale, and I'm so glad that this woman is safe and able to get on Reddit and talk about it. Let's not repeat these same mistakes. So she posted in the 2X chromosome subreddit saying, I visited a man in Switzerland. So she left her comfort zone and went to another country. I visited a man in Switzerland and left feeling emotionally manipulated and scared. What would you do? She says, Hi everyone. I'm looking for advice or just perspective. I'm still processing this and not sure if I'm overreacting, but my gut tells me something about this whole experience wasn't right. I'm a 28-year-old woman and met a man, 47-year-old man, a doctor living in Switzerland. Almost a 20-year age gap. No, hold on. Yeah, almost a 20-year age gap. Please leave these old heads alone. Please leave these old heads alone. These age gaps are way too ridiculous. Why can't he find a woman more his age? Another red flag. Let's calm down with these age gap relationships. All right, let me get back to it. I'm a 28-year-old woman and met a man through a serious dating platform. He seemed honest and respectful during our chats. Eventually, he invited me to visit him at his home. The moment we arrived at his place, his behavior shifted. He became cold, avoidant, and verbally aggressive, as if being in his own space gave him a sense of control. The tone of the visit changed completely. Another thing, do not go to a man's home when you're first meeting them. Meet in a neutral place, a public space. Do not do this. This is not safe to do this to a random stranger or even someone that you've known for a long time. Be safer than this. All right. At one point, he looked at me and said, You don't look like a teenager. At this point, warning signs, it should be blaring, lights should be flashing, everything should be going off, like run at this particular point. She's a 28-year-old woman. Of course, she doesn't look like a teenager. That comment felt inappropriate and unsettling, especially coming from someone who, in reality, looked much older than his photos, though I already expected that. As a 28-year-old woman, I already looked significantly younger than him, so the remark felt more like an attempt to assert dominance or create insecurity than anything else. Earlier, he had also made a bizarre comparison, saying some women had left their safe lives to join ISIS just for a man, and implying that relocating to Switzerland would be a much smaller compromise. Shortly after, he insisted I buy a train ticket and leave immediately. I wasn't physically threatened, but I felt shocked, humiliated, and emotionally manipulated. I left the same day. I felt like I couldn't express myself freely in his home because anything I said could have triggered him and escalated the situation. I am now back home in Germany, and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm not in danger, but I documented everything with the local police just in case. He has a child in another country whom he rarely visits, and he seems to be obsessed with very young foreign women, which makes me wonder if someone more vulnerable could seriously get hurt. There's no crime here, but I can't shake how wrong it felt. Would you report this in Switzerland too, or just move on? Am I overreacting? Thanks for reading. Any insight would mean a lot. This is why I will continue to say, make these people lonelier, because they simply do not deserve companionship. Like, what is this? Why are you on a dating site and then you connect with somebody only to make them uncomfortable and assert dominance? What is wrong with these people? Why can't they just act regular? Why can't they just have a normal conversation? Why are you bringing up ISIS? Why are you saying you don't look like a teenager? So many of these people, and he's not even connecting with his own child. So many of these people simply do deserve absolute loneliness. They deserve to expire alone, period. Let's get into some of these comments. Household Word says, keep meetings in public, be careful of age gaps and other potential red flags. Marzipan Moth says, seconded. I always meet in public for a drink or coffee. It also serves to weed out the guys who think all women are gold diggers. Side note, I always pay for my own way, plus money for makeup, hair, etc., aka the original reason women didn't pay for first dates. So, and then the person, Terrible Custard, who tags me all the time, says, you're doing too much. Guys generally aren't worth that amount of effort. You have a higher dating tax to pay. I'm not just talking financially here. They need to compensate, otherwise it's not worth your time or energy. And so right there are two different ways of thinking about this. Some women pay their own way because they don't want to feel like they owe anybody, and some people are like, dating these dudes is not worth it. They need to make it worth your time, because why are you doing all of this and they're barely likable anyway? You're gonna get dressed up, and most of these people have the personality of a cactus. And that's no disrespect to cactuses. Cacti. Whoops, is cacti. Cacti, they serve their purpose in the environment. I don't know what purpose many of these people serve. Common Peller honed in on the part where it says you don't look like a teenager, saying this along with this part, and he seems to be obsessed with very young foreign women, pretty much says it all. Seems like you dodged a bullet, and yes, you should report this with the police in Switzerland too, though as another commenter said little may come of it. No, you're not overreacting. We have a gut instinct for a reason. It's that primal sense that alerts us to something being wrong. When you feel it, listen to it. And then Blue Poodle says, read the book The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. There's a documentary on YouTube as well. You saved yourself. Bay Yarbu says, I always recommend this book. I think all women should read it. OP explains why you have the gut feelings you have and why you should trust them. It also outlines the best way to deal with men in some unsafe situations. It's very important knowledge. I didn't know about the documentary. I will check that out. Queasley says, he's giving me massive Hannibal psychopath vibes. And then the OP says, his place did give me this vibe. He was using red lights in his living space, and I swear I've never seen anyone using that in their homes. The apartment was very clean, as if no one had ever stayed there. And to that I say, maybe that is his second location. Maybe he has a home somewhere else, and he brings the foreign women over to this second location. It was probably why her spidey senses were going off, like, this is unsafe. Seed says he's a nearly 50-year-old man. How gross. He sounds like a predator. Stay safe. Murph Blurf says, I'm betting he's older than 50. He likely only claimed he was 48 because that's as low as he thought he could get away with her. He might even be in his 60s for all we know. OP. And then Mumulet says, disgusting. He sounds like a predator. OP got lucky getting out rattled but unscathed. And then the OP says, he does look older. When I first saw him, I was kind of surprised and didn't know what to say. So for whatever reason, I decided to give him a compliment so things won't be that awkward. I said, you look good and younger for your age. And he was uncomfortable with it. Maybe he spotted that I was lying. And then finally, I'll end with Liz Tastic saying, hey, OP, I'm very sorry for your experiences. For the future, please don't meet men in their homes or drive or fly to them. Meet them in public, in a bar, in a restaurant, somewhere where there's plenty of people. Don't tell them where you live or where you're staying in case you're in a hotel. Never drive in a car with a man you don't know. I will report his profile on the dating site and block him everywhere. Hopefully that's enough. If not, please change your phone number. And most of all, be careful in the future. Exactly. This is what we're going to do. Please drop your comments in the comment section. Let's try to keep each other safe. Let's try to point out these red flags. Let's try to, highlight when we're seeing warning signs go off, because we want to keep the next woman safe. I'm glad that this woman got out safely and was able to speak about this. I was tagged into this Am I the A-hole post, and the lady that tagged me in says, this dad is going to end up in the old man Mojo Dojo Casa house because of how he's treating his 17-year-old daughter. So this is the 17-year-old talking, saying, am I the a-hole for telling my dad I didn't like his new wife? Probably not. I'm sure she's justified. Let's look at the post. So she says, I, 17-year-old girl, have two sisters, Gabby, who's 24, and Amelie, who's 27. Our mother passed away 8 years ago, and my dad, who's 54, finally decided he wanted to remarry. He met this woman, who's 46, on a dating app, who I won't say her name. They met up and got to know each other probably 7 months ago. And 2 months ago, my dad proposed to her. Obviously, me and my sisters thought he was rushing things and told him that he had to take things slow, especially since they literally only met 7 months ago. He said that he hasn't been this happy in a long time and that he wanted to get married as soon as possible and that his fiance wanted the same thing as well. Me and my sisters thought he was really happy, and we finally came to terms that they were really engaged and soon the wedding would happen. The wedding day came and they had their honeymoon, and it was all good until his new wife started acting like a total B word. So basically, after their honeymoon, she started living with me and my dad, obviously. Since my sisters moved out the house, my dad's wife would always boss me around and tell me what to do, like go clean the dishes or go clean the living room. I mean, these are basic things that need to be done, and I really don't mind doing them, but not when every freaking 2 hours she would find something for me to do. For example, she literally told me to go clean out her closet and fold her clothes. Obviously, I said, no, why the hell am I doing that? Um, she then started complaining and saying that I have no respect for her when all day I do chores that she should have been doing instead. I told my sisters about this, and they said that it only happened one time, so it doesn't really matter. But tell me why she literally told me to go clean out the fridge and clean it. Excuse me, why am I doing that? Like, no thanks, I'm not doing that. I literally told her that, and she started complaining again about how disrespectful I am. I told my sisters about that as well, and they said they'll talk to her. So Gabby came and confronted her, but then she decided to cry to my dad as if he would take her side, which he did, like shaking my head. Anyway, he took her side and started yelling at me and my sister and said we weren't making her feel welcome, even though all we've been doing is be nice to her. For some reason, my dad thought it was a good idea to start yelling at me and call me names, which is diabolical because why is he defending a woman he just met not even 8 months ago? I started yelling back, obviously, and in the midst of the argument, I said that I didn't even like her from the beginning. My dad and his wife went absolutely crazy and started yelling at me as if I committed murder. My sister Gabby lives in an apartment, and my sister thought it's better if I go stay with her until the issue is resolved. My dad hasn't talked to me, and I really don't know if I'm in the wrong or not, so the question still remains, am I the a-hole? You're absolutely not the a-hole. Your dad moved way too quickly, and this woman came in and started treating you like she's the evil stepmother in the Cinderella movie, and you are Cinderella, like you're a servant. Everybody in the household, especially, once the kids get bigger, the kids have responsibilities, but so do the parents. Everybody should be pitching in. And this woman came in, did not build rapport, didn't build a relationship, but thought she was going to be a drill sergeant. Obviously, that's going to make anyone push away and be like, what the hellio? What the helliante? That's what's going to happen, and that is what happened. She didn't earn your respect, and I know that some people think that, teenagers are supposed to respect authority. I totally get that, but respect has to be earned, and she didn't do it. So that is what I'm saying. Let's jump into the comments. This is where I was tagged in. Am3142 says, this man will end up in the Mojo Dojo Casa house in his old age if he doesn't start sticking up for his girls. And then she says, not the a-hole OP. Your stepmom and dad are acting crazy and rude. You're more mature than they are. Absolutely agree with that assessment. Short and to the point. Hopeful Artichoke says, he chose his D. Sorry, OP, but I agree. You should live with your sister or sisters. Professional Archer says, typical evil stepmom. And Matt says, but this is all on the dad. Yes, it is absolutely the dad's responsibility to come in and take up for his daughter, who he has known for 17 years. And this woman that he's only known for 7 months should not take precedence over his own child. Large Meaning says, it's absolutely on dad, but unfortunately, society prefers to blame the evil new woman. I have a wonderful relationship with my stepdaughter, but I also have no doubt that if I had treated her wrong, my partner would absolutely pick her, as he should. Far too many parents choose their new spouse and not their child. It's sickening. Cherie says, I'm a firm believer that simply marrying a parent does not make you a step-parent. You have to step up to be a step-parent. That's her dad's wife. Absolutely. That's what Serious Mink says, saying exactly. Avenger says, wish you were around 40 years ago to tell my husband's stepdad. Now my husband has to send the obligatory Father's Day card because he feels left out. Okay, Knowledge calls the woman a step monster. Velvet Misty says, absolutely this. OP, your dad picked the new wife over you, and that choice says it all. You'll get more love and respect living with your sisters. They've been there for you when he hasn't. Surround yourself with the people who actually have your back. Diane Zhu says, it's not just about who he's dating, it's about how his new wife treats his daughter and how he ignores it. Wanting respect at home isn't petty. It's about setting boundaries and finding peace, not putting up with constant disrespect. And then Bishop Redline says his little head took over thinking from the big head. And with that, I'll end it. Obviously, this 17-year-old is not the a-hole, but I do want to hear from you. What do you think about this? Is she an a-hole for telling dad that she didn't like the new wife? Go ahead and chime in. So Dr. Noor Salman is a woman I follow over on Threads. I've actually shared a couple of her posts before, but she made this post saying, a man who washes clothes, cleans his house, washes dishes is a functional adult, not a special being, because this is something that you are supposed to do as an adult, because having a peen does not mean that you have a servant. So let's get into some of the comments under that, because obviously this makes sense. But now you have people like 21st QED that thinks that we're still in the 1940s. This person says, okay, cool, but you also want a man to cover every bill and pay for every meal. So what guy is making enough money to have time to do all that and work a job where he makes mountains of money? I just don't understand logistically how so many women think they're going to end up with a handsome millionaire. She said absolutely none of that. This woman is a working woman, and I'm totally sure that she manages to clean her own home. So if women are managing to go to work and clean their own home and all of that goes along with being an adult, I'm totally sure that she thinks that a man can do it too. And she said nothing about the man has to, what does he say? Make mountains of money and be a handsome millionaire. She did not say that at all. These men really act like women are out here like really asking for the world to say, you need to clean up after yourself. Gracie wonders, what century are you living in? Because every woman I know works full time, in addition to doing the majority of the housework and childcare. Like, why can't they just come into 2025 where women actually work? Alan Howes, oh my God, sounds stigmatizing against those who need functional help. Lord Jesus. Dr. Salman says that's a stretch. We can't talk about functional adults without you being offended. Talk about a need for attention. And then he says, you should be ashamed. No wonder you're grifting in the corporate world. No clinical clue. I did go to his page. He has a very woe is me page. No one loves me. I'm so alone. I'm going to learn Spanish because I have a crush on this Latina, even though I know she won't see me. I'm going to die alone. His posts were so sad. Keto Queen Cook says, have you ever heard of weaponized incompetence? I think you missed the point. Adulting is what adults do. It's not a woman's job to mother a fully functional men, but some men seem to expect women do these things for them. If a person can't care for themselves, they have no right to expect someone else to do it for them. And then Alan says, I'm aware that exists. Not familiar myself. I haven't dated that many men. Again, my issue was her attitude that was grossly arrogant and dismissive and inappropriate for someone who wants to use their degree in marketing themselves. It's peddling cruelty. So to say that a man needs to clean up after himself and wash his own dishes, this is peddling cruelty. Some of these people are such victims. It's wild. They say that they are the most logical leaders. They have big brains. Women are supposed to submit, but it's cruel to say you need to wash your dishes. This is wild to me. And he continues, I'm sick of cruelty personally. It nearly unalived me from within and without. This person needs a journal. He needs a journal. Loch Nessa Monster says, I appreciate your willingness to go to bat for the disabled, but dear Lord, inventing context to argue about isn't going to win anyone over. It's exhausting and entirely an online thing. Can you imagine overhearing women discussing how often men are not fully functional adults and then chiming in that it sounded like ableism? Because you wouldn't. That would be weird. It's weird. I'm actually going to go touch grass. This shit's absurd. She's not even telling him to go touch grass. She said, I'm going to go touch grass. I am Kagazi says, a man who respects women and treats them as fellow equal human beings is doing the bare minimum, because that's what we are supposed to do. Don't expect a reward for it. Yay, a man with sense. Whew. That's why Dr. Nora Salmon says, all right now. 20th Century Fox Vintage says, I once dated a grown-ass man with a PhD who sent me a photo of him cleaning a toilet. Weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I asked him if I should be impressed that he was cleaning a toilet that he pooped in. That's weird. Dr. Salmon says, I would have said, congratulations, you can complete a task a 10-year-old can do. And then finally, I'm going to end it with this cartoon. At the top, this man is saying, I can cook. This woman is saying, I have a car. The man in green is saying, I have a Netflix login. The bearded man in the lavender shirt says, I like to clean things. And then it says, by your powers combined, I am a single, fully functioning adult. Please take a screenshot of that. Please take a screenshot of that. Dr. Salvin says, so good. I agree. We need that because it's humorous. It made me chuckle. It'll make someone else chuckle. Chime in. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. If you made it this far, you're not yet following me, go ahead and smash the follow button.
Sassy, is it? I think I would love to tell you where you can take this comment and shove it, but I think you already know. And I want to get something very clear, Sassy. You may have helped a dictator get into office, but you will never dictate what I put on my page. And in true hypocrite fashion, you say, I'm so sick of my fave creators posting about political issues. Just stick to the BS we see on TikTok. She's talking about the series that I normally do, y'all. But Sassy, I went through a lot of your reposts, and you reposted tons of political videos. So is it that you don't want your faves talking about political issues, or you don't want your faves talking about it when it doesn't align with the circus you helped put into office? You truly want to see some BS? Get up off your couch, walk to your bathroom, turn towards your mirror. And ta-da, there you go, an up-close and personal view of the BS. Yourself. Have the day you and Taco deserve. Remember, don't get on other people's page trying to tell them what they can and can't post. Bye. Mwah.